Before we proceed to interviews,
two Orthodox brothers of ours.
And not to expect any mercy.
We had wars here.
I want to help you understand why Serbians responded the way they did with a short historical background. Number 1. Both Russia and Serbia share Eastern Orthodox Christian heritage, which helped with cultural ties. Number 2. During the long rule of Ottoman Empire in Europe, both countries fought against Turks. And related to the topic of these interviews, in the end of 18th century, Russia took control of Crimea from the Ottomans. Number 3. In 1914, a Bosnian Serb Gavrilo Princip successfully assassinated Franz Ferdinand, the Archduke of Austro-Hungary. In response, Austro-Hungary declared war on Serbia, and that led to the Russian Empire mobilizing its troops to honor promise of supporting Serbia in such events. At least it was a formal excuse to get involved. Number 4. A relatively recent event is 1999 NATO bombing of Yugoslavia, and since in the current conflict many NATO countries are back in Ukraine, Serbians think about enemy of my enemy sentiment. As you probably know, after World War II, Germany intentionally didn't repair every building, leaving bullet holes and traces on the wall as a reminder of the events. The same in Serbia. For example, here's a monument with the names of deceased people next to the bombed building. And here is headquarters of Yugoslav Ministry of Defense. Before I spent 2 months in Georgia, and streets there have a clear opinion on the war. In Serbia, however, walls have no consensus on the topic. Also, Serbians are still processing their own historical events. And one last thing, not me nor other people in this video are native English speakers, so for your own convenience, I suggest you to turn on subtitles if you haven't done it yet. Enjoy watching. What's your opinion on Russia-Ukraine war?
In 2014, when happened the color revolution in Ukraine, actually we from Serbia knew what is going on, and I regret it very much because the Ukrainian people didn't know about the technology that has been planned a long time ago, how to come nearby the Russian borders. Actually, the special military operation that Russian Federation provided was preventable, and we know about the plans. They just did it a few days before that happened from the other side. It was prepared a big offensive on Lugansk and on Donbas. It is much better to have initiative when you already know the plans of the enemies.
A bad thing for the common people is just a lot of suffering. It's not good for anyone. Well, I'm really neutral about it, more or less. We had wars here. In those wars, nobody really wins, so just everyone loses. A small number of people that will profit from the war, companies that make weapons, and then in the end, people are losing lives, losing homes. It's not what you really want in modern times.
I would say it's a very unlikely conflict for the Orthodox people. Only the Americans benefit from it. It's unnecessary to be so big it became. It doesn't need to escalate as much as it did. And I'm not really sure what Putin is doing right now, what are his goals. But I understand he wanted to protect his people from the Nazis, Ukrainian Nazis, and that is totally fine. We understand that because we have a similar situation in Kosovo. You're probably aware of that. And he wanted to protect his people, but I just don't see why does he continue making so much blood from the brothers nation. I see he wants to take some of the territory, but I got no idea when will he stop. Surely it isn't very good to keep the war lasting too long, because I see he is getting drones from Iran, buying from North Korea missiles. So that means he is not also very in that much beneficial position, and at the same time West is getting a lot of economic damage. Germans, English, electricity is getting tough, and gas everywhere, and we are under tension that war will spread to here, because it will be logical for West to press us as much as possible. They're doing it right now on the diplomatic side. I wouldn't really be surprised if the war would come here.
What is the official position of Serbia?
Our government is trying to stay neutral, and I think that is smart for us, because we'll get nuked in the fucking war. We got nothing. Serbian's military defense is not really as good as it was like 20 years ago. and it would be very risky to interfere in war, both on Western or Russian side. It would not be smart at all.
So you support this position?
Yes, I would prefer to stay in peace, at least for now.
I didn't read the news lately, but in the beginning, Serbia said that Ukraine has right for independence, but also Serbia doesn't want to sanction Russia.
Do you support this position of neutrality?
Yes, yes.
That fake president can't afford to give the statements that shows the directives that he has. Directives that he has to perform is to provide sanctions toward Russia. And he's trying to do it, but not to say it loudly. He, as representative of somebody else, not the people in Serbia, take part in export of the arms that goes to Ukraine regime.
What do you think about Russians fleeing from mobilization and in particular coming to Serbia?
I used to think that Russians don't really, it would be very rough to say, care, but I thought the Russians are more willing to die for their interest. But I understand that they run away from shit. I would do that the same, honestly.
I think it should be your personal choice if you want to go or not. People that went out of Russia and came here just want to live their lives. I see a lot of Russian and also Ukrainian people here. I mean, everyone is welcome here, so if they feel safe, it's okay.
As I'm informed, mobilization is announced for people that have some experience and some specialties that are necessary for this phase of war. We can speak about war. It's obvious it is not anymore a partial operation because all the other states in European Union and America, they sent weapons and financial help and everything else. So it is expected that more the soldiers are necessary to cover the territory. Probably some people just have a kind of fear that they should be mobilized. I don't know what was the reason for people to leave Russia. It is very, very touchy question because in circumstances when the state is actually attacked because they announced the war inside of Davos, and the first actually duty for a male is to defend the country. I don't want to judge anybody, so everything is possible.
Okay. What should Russians do now?
Well, I'm not sure. They're under pressure too. I would just like to see the end of this massacre from two Orthodox brothers of ours. Massacre is not good in any fucking way.
They just have to stay still and to do what is the best for the interest of Russia and not to expect any mercy or any truth from the other side, because until they are going to be beaten completely, they wouldn't be ready to surrender.
Whatever they think is best for them, personally. If you think you will have a better life in Belgrade or in Moscow, it's your choice.
This video took me significant amount of time to edit, specifically because of this lovely lady who occupied my ears for 33 minutes. So, to not waste precious material and appreciate my own work, I've decided to share with you raw files, a footage and audio track from the microphone. If you want to get geopolitical insights from this knowledgeable woman, if you want to know why there is a tent camp in front of Serbian parliament, here are 2 QR codes. One leads to my Patreon post, no paywall. Another one leads to my Telegram post. There you can find a link to archive. Just so you know, it's 15 gigabytes. These were interviews with Serbians in Belgrade. If you want to hear from locals from the other countries, you might be interested in my video from Kazakhstan or my video from Georgia. I hope you appreciate my work, find my content valuable, and thank you for watching. This time I've decided to not use lavalier, I just hold the microphone in my hand.